What do you guys see as areas that the futurists should be focused on?
I mean, you just mentioned the word, so I'll go ahead and grab it. I think we are entering into an all addressable future. I think it's going to take a while, but buying on age and gender, it doesn't cut it anymore. And brands have known that for a long enough time, but now there's evidence that like everyone has to change. So I think connected TV is already addressable. It's targeted media. I think everything needs to be targeted and everything needs to be measured. And that's really how everyone's going to see success. That's my opinion.
And I've been saying this for the last 5 years. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just transact TV on a CPM and had it be measurable and reach the users we want to reach? And I used to be laughed out of meetings when I would say that. They're like, oh, wouldn't, that's a nice thought. But I think in the next 2 to 3 years, I think we're going to start getting to the space where TV is TV is TV. There is no delineation between whether it's through a traditional module or whether it's through my mobile phone, right? So I'm hopeful that that's where the mindset shift will be. I think the technology and the actual movement to that will take more like 5 to 10 years overall. I mean, the TV industry has been doing this since the 50s. So, you're moving a big, big behemoth to adopt what we from the digital side are trying to push into the industry. So it's a big shift, but I think the mindset in terms of buyers and advertisers over the next 2 to 5 years is, I think we're getting to the place where TV is TV is TV, and we'll be able to start, the dollars will move the back end.
Addressability is key, and it's the same as one Tiffany's making. I think and Tiffany knows this full well, working on the supply side, I think for the past probably 3 years in the connected TV landscape, we've been really trying to grab some of these big rocks, right? Major networks. And now those major networks, like Tiffany said, they've made that inventory available in platform, but they're also making it compete directly with their direct sold because they see the CPM value and the yield optimizations that they can do. But there are tons of pockets of inventory that are smaller, they're not quite as easy and big of gets, that are still coming online. And when that starts to happen, and you can, as a marketer, or as for us as platforms, go to marketers and say, look, if it exists, it's in platform, right? It's addressable. That's starting to come on. So even set-top boxes, right? These set-top boxes that are being made now, those are smart set-top boxes that can be transacted on a one-to-one basis, and those are starting to come online. And then the other thing I see in probably the next 3 years, to your question, Ryan, is for a long time, Samsung, Vizio, and any of the panel manufacturers, Samba, who aggregates panel manufacturer inventory, those entities were sort of viewed as long tail, but they own the consumer relationship more than anyone else does because they own the glass. They're the first experience that you have. And they've all seen, if you're making panels, even Samsung, who sells really expensive TV panels, they're making 2 to 3% on a panel. And they're making 60 to 80% on an advertisement. That's a business unit that each of those entities, I predict, will take very, very seriously. And they're writing playbooks for each other by going out and saying, we're going to eat a big chunk of this CTV landscape because we see this as our market opportunity. And they're doing great at it, right? And frankly, the other entities that could take back some of that from them aren't really interested in selling ads. You've got Apple, who's not really interested in selling ads. You've got Amazon, who's a behemoth, but they're not taking their Fire Sticks super seriously as a vehicle for selling ads. They're using other platforms to sell ads. And then Google does, but in a very different silo. They've got Google Chromecast. The other OTT devices aren't interested in keeping them out. It's really the networks that are, but they're sort of hamstrung by the fact that their user experience is tethered to the glass itself.